hours. Yeah, totes down for an early start. Hi, Owen. Morning, Bears. Hey, BB, start, BB. We all have our ladles ready. All right. Today, there's some piping hot gravy. I hope you guys enjoyed yesterday, touching base on what matters and motivates me with my homesteading video. But, we got to get back to some gravy. And today, we're going to check out Kobe Bryant. Guys, some of my favorite channels are super black guys. Like Chronicles of Judah 144. I'm going to play a clip from him in a little bit. You'll relate more to him than like the conspiracy. I call them bike returners because clearly they've stolen bikes, but they return them. You'll be surprised how much you relate to the struggles of a lot of what these people go through and how in depth they understand conspiracy and celebrity and just how intensely Christian they are. Where they refer to this dude as like, Satan is our enemy on this earth, but Satan is not the enemy of the Most High. The Most High has no peers. And I'm like, nice. And he's always building up the black man but I'm fine with it. I'm like, I just wish more people were like this to the whites. He's not about hating the whites. It's about, borderline on like intense racial, I wouldn't call it pride, enthusiasm. It's like how I'm a white enthusiast. It's not supremacy. But anyway, as I know I'm starting a little early. Crow's here? Oh yeah, Crow's a crusher. I know I'm starting a little early, so as you guys come in, today's called Bike Thief Gravy, my theory on Kobe Bryant. I have a theory. It's interesting. It's not just adding on to the noise. I think I kind of have an idea of what's going on with it. And then E. Michael Jones, New Culture Wars shout out. I'm going to read a passage. E. Michael Jones did a whole passage on me and my show in Indiana and comedy and the history of comedy. It's awesome. And I will read that. A section of it. So thank you, E. Michael Jones. It was very, very awesome to see you write about me because you write better than I do. So yeah, you always get scammed by powerful forces that, oh dude, wait till you hear it. Wait till you hear how basic values this guy is and how he like breaks down Kobe Bryant's Luciferianism and the black man's, how they have to all worship the divine feminine to get them shoes and the billions. It's amazing. It really is an issue of masculinity and femininity in a lot of these things. And you can see it. Thank you, Crow. Good to see it. Oh, Crow, whenever you want to come on, people love when you pop on. So Crow has a D Live channel now. So check it out. E. Michael Jones is an absolute legend. Yeah, I've told people, even though I've been very critical of the Catholic Church, I'm like, if E. Michael Jones was a priest, I'd be an altar boy. I'd be wearing a frock, lighting candles. The dude is dialed in. Just truthful, ballsy. Just love the guy. All right, so I'm going to play an old sketch that a lot of you guys probably haven't seen from a year and a half ago. It's called The Last Bernie Bro. I shot it in my ravine with my then friend Eric Nimmer. He's still really funny. He just, stole some money from me. If I had a bike, he would have taken it, but it's all good. This is why I can honestly say that people don't have as much to worry about as they think, because a lot of these forces are LARP, they're live action role play. When you actually put into, when the rubber meets the road on some of these absurd concepts like communism, socialism, Zionism, all this stuff, it doesn't work at all. So this is called The Last Bernie Bro. And this is how comedy can transcend triggers, because I created a character that would be real if this was real. But since socialism is clearly just a daydream, check this out. It's called The Last Bernie Bro. Enjoy. And then let's get into some gravy, some Kobe Bryant gravy.
My name is Chad, and I'm a Bernie Bro. There used to be millions of us. Then there were thousands. Now there's only me. We stood for something greater than ourselves, equality of outcome. The greedy capitalists called us morons, said we didn't have jobs and we lived off our parents. I mean, that's all true. But they did not have to say it like that. When I first heard Bernie Sanders, something in me changed.
You know, it's funny, sometimes American journalists talk about how bad a country is because people are lining up for food. That's a good thing.
I knew that the problems in my life were not my fault. They were someone else's fault. Capitalism, greed, America, not me. Everyone else turned on Bernie Sanders. I did not. Bernie spoke of a land that listened to him and had the courage to follow the dream. I couldn't find it on a map or spell it. I knew it had carried his dream and I would find it. I brought only my machete, a frisbee, bubbles, two La Croix, and my trusted vape pen. The natural environment is raw, beautiful. But when I think about white privilege and America and capitalism, I flip out on it, just beat the shit out of it. Greedy capitalism makes me freak out so frickin' bad. My name is Chad. And if you are reading this, just know there is hope for you too. Come. The socialist utopia Bernie Sanders dreamed about. Escape America's evil, rich clutches if you dare and try to break into a dream. A dream that is Venezuela. My name is Chad.
Yes! Venezuela! I'm here! I want to come in Venezuela so bad, and these walls divide us. Please, just open your gates to me.
You want to come in?
Yes, please.
Like in here?
I've come all the way through this horrible jungle from America to be a part of your beautiful utopia. I was a Bernie Sanders supporter.
You're an American.
A lot of shame, I know. The land of greed and meanness. I want equality.
Do you have a passport?
Oh, of course, the shameful document that keeps people apart.
Let me see.
I'll burn it right now.
Wait, no, stop. Stop it. Put it down. Put it down. You wait right there.
Okay, I'll do anything. I can't wait to play frisbee and blow bubbles.
Is that valid?
Unfortunately, yes.
All right, pick it up slowly. Hand finger. Hold this.
But why would I
For
want
freedom. Hold this.
But why would I want a gun in a land of utopia?
Stay right here.
But aren't these illegal?
No, take back!
Where are you going, sir? Man, that man's very confusing. Who are all these people running towards me? Why do they look like skeletons? Hello? Where do I play hacky sack around here? And who has some goddamn La Croix?
Oh, sweet. Thanks, Papa J Bear. Papa J Bear is crushing. Okay, so yeah, that's clearly, I was checking out the chat. Everyone was enjoying that tremendously. A Bernie bro would never be able to wield a machete like that. Right, but see, this is what I figured out since then. Back then, I thought I was still believing in the left-right paradigm, and I still relate, obviously, more to right-wing. I'm right-wing, but it's about the feminine and the masculine. It's about the equality of outcome is the problem, because right now we're seeing it in corporations like YouTube and PayPal and all that. It's this notion. It's like Vox Day's book, Corporate Cancer, where it's the notion that you can make it so everyone's equal. That's a very feminine quality that's great with babies, terrible with adults. So that video would be the one of the things I do with comedy a lot is putting these ideas, these absurd ideas, in a realistic state. You know, where it's like, oh, well, first we'll dress up in robes and then we will mock sacrifice Beyonce and at the Super Bowl, and then the power. I'm like, okay, so where do you get this power going to a battery? They're like, what? it just isn't. Your skin looks amazing, Big Bear. Thank you. I've been on this no sugar, no bread, and I've been drinking apple cider in the morning and all that stuff. But it doesn't matter. I can see how people get too obsessed with their own diet, and it's an odd narcissism that can overtake you when you're just obsessed with killing your gut parasites. So I'm not going to go down that road. I saw the ticket. Where I could just fire up the live stream every day and go into great depth as to what I'm currently consuming and what I think it's going to do for me, because I'm a special boy and I deserve the best. Where did you get a bike thief around your neck of the woods? Oh, that's Nimmer. He was the dude who opened for me forever, and then he lied about having cancer, and I was paying for his cancer treatments that he never had. And some people may not have been able to recover from that because of the embarrassment, but I didn't know, and people get tricked. It doesn't hurt me. He's the one who messed up. He took too many tickets. It's like, if he had just not done that, he'd be doing much better today. It's all good. He's funny, super funny, but classic bike thief. So for those of you just joining that missed the beginning, speaking of bike thief, there's a new category of people I call bike returners. Like Chronicles of Judah 144 is this awesome conspiracy channel and just devout believer, and he called it the Most High, intense guy, black as night. And some of those guys face a lot of the issues that a lot of young white men face, way more than you would imagine. Like, you'll relate more to some of these bike returner conspiracy channels. And he know a lot about Kobe, because I was going to talk about Kobe today, because I have he's definitely a black enthusiast. Like, he's going to be like, you are a black man. They're trying to rob your essence. You are. And I'm like, just throw white in there and I get it. Yeah, bike returners. Yeah, bike returners. Bike reuniters. Those were sad days. Glad we moved on. Are still crushing more than ever. Yeah, I mean, life is full of obstacles. It's what makes you strong. If you're raising vegetables in a hothouse with with the fake lights without wind, they get so limp they don't even produce veggies. It's a great metaphor for life. The propaganda commercials ruined the whole vibe of the Small Hat Bowl last night. Well, we were just streaming at the piano last night. Last night was a fun one if you want to check it out. I did a piano stream last night. Yeah, I mean, I don't watch the Super Bowl commercials because we've already established that they're really bad. But so I was doing some research on Kobe, because the best place to get it is black bike reuniters doing heavy breakdowns. And these people are super Christian and super call out mystery religions and feminization and trans celebrities. I mean, I'm going to show you the beginning of one of these Chronicle of Judah 144 videos, and you'll relate a ton to what he's saying to the black man. He's like, I am not a fan of Kobe Bryant. I put him in my top 15. He's like, you become a fan when you're raised by the female, the woman energy. He's like, I'm not a fan of a man. He goes, I'm not a fan. I'm not emotional about it. He's like, I respect the mastery of his craft. Dude, I'm the type of guy that you'd see me hanging out with a bunch of black dudes in bow ties, and I'm like, these guys get it. Because last night's stream was great. Oh, thanks. BB, do you know Aaron Hernandez accomplished was... I don't know, but I have some interesting... Damn, Owen has a big heart. LOL, psychopaths can be very convincing. It's fine, though. Long term, it only hurts the psychopath. That's why it doesn't matter. Don't harden your heart. Like, I've seen that with certain gammas with me, where they've been screwed over. A lot of real cynical, real mean-spirited people that assume everybody's against them, that don't trust anybody, they were tricked like I've been tricked. And instead of just saying, what an asshole, that guy sucks, they're like, I'll never be fooled again, like that Who song, and then they just end up being awful. So, learn from it, be more wary. I don't just trust everybody, but it's like, I'm not going to change my personality because some terrible people exist. You know? All right. So anyway, let's check out some more stuff. Oh, here's something really funny. Babylon B just put this up. Breaking: health officials quarantine Portland to prevent spread of communism. Hilarious. So it's not even communism, capitalism. It's the feminine, divine. And it's not motherhood. I love the way women are when it comes to being wives and mothers and sisters and community leaders and home creators and everything. They make babies, guys. It's amazing. But the worship of that in business and politics, it's what makes everything go downhill fast. That's why communism versus capitalism is a fake binary, because as we can see, capitalism is being infected by the divine feminine now, where it's like everybody has to feel, everybody needs to be equal or you're banned from our business, white man. And what's happening, which is why you don't have to be afraid of it, is women don't even want it anymore. One of the reasons that the corporate world has become so feminized, and black men have it really hard. It's like all these black athletes, and I'll get to Kobe. I have theories as to what really happened with Kobe. He has some masculine in him. And I think he rubbed some people the wrong way. Even though he was like a dark magic guy, and I'll show you those videos too. Their main consumers are women. They're always trying to never offend women, always promote women, especially black women. You know, that's why one reason why black women, a lot of them are so out of their mind, because they've been so babied and pampered by corporations and governments, where it's like, we'll give you anything you need. It's like, I want a new pair of shoes. It's like, done. And so, but what's happening is even those women are now not wanting it. They because it's exploiting this female Achilles heel that's great with being a wife and mother, but in reality, it's very lonely. And now a lot of women are like, I just want someone to be a man. I'd rather struggle with a good man than live this lie. It's happening all over the place. Many blacks are cucked from birth because the dad was never there. Oh yeah, dude. And should we just play a little Chronicles of Judah first so that you understand where a lot of black people are coming from in America? You'll relate a lot more than you think you will if you see that the destruction of the family, destruction of faith, all that. They did it to them first and way more successfully. And so this will help people understand that it's not an issue of race. There is obviously differences in races, but you'll get along a lot more with a masculine man, an honest, good man, a believer, than a cucked white. And all right, so check this out. I'll just play a little bit of this. Just check out how his vibe. And again, I'm not a fan of the Chronicles of Judah. I am not a fan of man. I don't get emotional about it unless I'm quitting sugar and caffeine the same day and kind of spiral a little bit. Where is it? Last Bernie Bro. Inside Kobe's Muse Cage. Wait till you see some of this stuff, man. It's crazy. This is called The Pulpit of Lucifer. Kobe Bryant, The Pulpit of Lucifer, Part 1 by Chronicles of Judah 144. I'm just showing you his vibe and where he's coming from.
All right, man, peace. So as we all know, Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest players in NBA history. I have him on my top 15 list, right in the same range as Isaiah Thomas and Dr. J, Moses Malone, etc. Many of his more ardent fans disagree with me, but as I state incessantly on this channel, this is not a fan channel. This is not a fanboy channel. I address everyone objectively because I have no horse in the race. I don't view sports as a mechanism for me to express any type of emotionality. Unfortunately, many so-called black men do. Why is that? Because our culture has been broken down. The link patrilineally has been destroyed. The patriarchy has been eradicated. And due to that, many so-called black men exhibit a lot of traits pertaining to influence from their mother. That's the reason why a lot of cats oftentimes fanboy out. You're supposed to appreciate the greatness of another man by acknowledging his hard work and the fact that he polished his gifts. But becoming a fan of another man, that's a no-no. Point being is this. I've addressed the sporting angle in regards to Kobe Bryant for a long time, and I've alluded to his Luciferian ties. I had not had the opportunity or the time to address it until now. So I'm going to delve into it as I...
So you see the difference in vibe? Like, it's a similar problem that a lot of white people have, where it's like you've been raised by this feminine emotionality, and it's like, he calls out Drake for being a homo. He calls out Serena Williams for being trans. Dude, it's hilarious. The guy sounds based. Yes, that's my point about like he would make fun of bike. I'm guessing. I don't know. He could just think that I'm a psycho, but he I guarantee would make fun of bike thieves too. He'd be like, "Why do you chase the material mob, so-called black man?" I'm like, nice, overcoming it. And he breaks down the mystery school stuff about what all that, because black culture has it so bad, guys. Like, if you look at NBA players and a lot of athletes and LeBron and rappers and stuff, the amount of like Illuminati, Eye of Horus, mystery school, Luciferian stuff, it makes white culture look like Little House on the Prairie. Oh, that's Chronicles of Judah 144. He's like one of these dudes. It's like Sunday worships Saturn. He's like, it's Saturday. That's the thing, is like, he's super intense about that stuff. I don't get as intense about that. I just believe you should take one day a week off, because it's, you know, it's the one thing that let us know we weren't slaves leaving Egypt. But I respect him trying to break down Saturn and all that stuff. So anyway, when I'm trying to find out about Kobe, I'm not going to look at the whites. I'm going to the place where for years, you know, there's these bike reuniters breaking down exactly how they take the mind of the young black youth. Dude, no one's more bummed about it than like based blacks. Drake is a hat and a homo. Yeah, the Prince, Hall Lodges, take it to... All right, because once you see these patterns, life becomes really interesting. Like, there was a stabbing in London, this big publicized event, and I got so many emails saying, dude, there was a purple motorcycle and and shoes. They're like, I can't believe it. And I just sent Ali Damagard. I'm like, a lot of my listeners saw the shoes in the purple and their minds are blown. It's like, once you see the pattern, it doesn't work anymore. That's the whole reason that I communicate these things. It's not just to get people all worked up. It's like, once you see the media, it's like, here we have another hate crime, or another whatever they want to call it. And you just see an empty pair of shoes in the color purple, and you're like, oh man, that Ali Damagard was right. No way. The modern militant black man looks like Steve Jobs. Stefan Works. I don't know what that means. I'm not saying I'm into militant black men. I'm saying that, like, it's not bad to be enthusiastic about your own people. Like, when I hear him give advice to young black youth, I'm like, nice. And I just want more whites to do it to young white youth, or any youth. You know, because the battle isn't just between like shades of skin tone. It's about holding on to your culture, holding on to the masculine, holding on to truth, and not allowing this feminine tyranny to just keep being like, everyone's the same or you're all fired and dead. It's like, people are having enough of that. So that's why when I got kicked off YouTube, you saw like Hotep, Jesus, and some of these other guys being like, yo, hit F for Owen Benjamin, you know, one of our brothers has fallen. And people are like, wait a minute, I thought Owen Benjamin was this like white supremacist leader. And it's like, no, based people like me, people that just call out bullshit. Don't get me wrong, when there's more than a few bike reuniters, I get a little jumpy. But, you know. All right, so what was I going to show you guys first? Okay, so here's proof that Kobe Bryant was absolutely involved in the dark arts. And some of this stuff is more common than people think. They just don't know what they're doing. So this is him. And the thing that is a little bothersome about this to me is that it's clearly aimed at children. It's like made for kids. There's a puppet. It's got the colors for kids. And it's blatantly about using demons to tap into competition. Check this out.
Welcome to Muse Academy. I'm Kobe Bryant.
And I'm Little Mamba.
And we are here.
Yeah, his serpent spirit guide. Just check it out.
tell you all about the word muse cage.
Muse cage.
Muse cage. What's a muse cage?
A muse cage is a room decorated with any and everything that inspires you. When you're in your muse cage, you are surrounded by musings that keep you focused and motivated.
Notice the color purple. Just pointing that out. So this is about muse caging. It develops into just straight up black magic, but just this was out in the open. This is what this dude did. But I have some theories.
That's amazing. Can a muse cage muse me to be a beast for my basketball game today?
Of course.
Can a muse cage muse me to be a beast like James Harden?
Sure can.
Can a muse cage muse me to be a beast like Russell Westbrook?
Absolutely.
Can a muse cage muse me?
A muse cage can be whatever it is you want it to be.
Right, do as thou wilt. But also notice that the thing's a worm. I know we've been kind of talking about serpents and worms lately, but just I'm going to continue here.
If you build it the right way.
Oh. I'm ready.
You don't need construction tools to build a muse cage.
Then what do I use to build my muse cage?
Your curiosity.
Oh. I don't get it.
Use your curiosity to search all over the world for musings that you can use.
Okay, so there's light musings and dark musings.
Light musings
You're nice.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Oh, so nice of you.
and dark musings.
worthless. You're a failure.
Make it stop.
Yeah, light musings make you feel good and happy.
Yeah.
Dark musings make you feel bad and angry.
I don't like dark musings.
Most people don't. But what they don't understand is that dark musings just may be our greatest source of energy and power.
Ooh.
If you're looking for your inner beast, it's most likely living inside of a dark muse.
Really?
Okay, so understand, I know this is insane to watch, and I know that this is all real. I went over this when it first happened. I watched this and I was like, what? But this is also, like, I relate to this. I've been about to play like a football game or something, and in my mind, I would start being like, these people want to hurt me. These people want... I understand this. But what he's doing is he's taking it to, like, a spiritual realm for children. And it's like I legit understand this in high-level physical sports where you're just like... You know, what some MMA guys will do is they'll look, this one Russian guy is one of the best fighters, he'll look at this other guy, and in his mind, he's like, that man wants to take food from my children. That man wants my children to not, and the guy, and people are like, no, I don't. He's like, if you, that, and that's terrifying. And if you're at that level, when you make it like this, it's a peek into what these people believe, because it gets much crazier. And again, it's like most people can see the window into this. Like I didn't pledge a fraternity, but I know a lot of my friends pledge fraternities, and that's all mystery school stuff. You know, it's a fraternal order. When people can't understand what a Freemason is, just be like, okay, take any frat and magnify it by 1,000, and then put them in all the power positions. It's like, you know, the hazing rituals, the brotherhood, the secret handshakes. It's like, it's not as foreign as people think, but it's dark. And this type of stuff is like, when you try to tap into it and use it like a battery, it has a real backlash. Like, this is straight up black magic, what's happening here. And then I'll explain more.
I don't know. I don't like feeling bad and angry, but...
Yeah, I mean, this is a little kid's voice. This is so twisted. You know, and Kobe, I guarantee, was raised like this, like raised to be the best. Michael Jordan was the same way. And it gets to a point where it's like, you don't even exist anymore. And Kobe is one of these guys, the Bike Reuniter was talking about, that he's more intellectual, higher IQ than the average, you know, Shaq type character. So I'll get to how that plays a factor soon. And
I do need to find my inner beast. What should I do? do, 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 do.
Hang on, is this? There's a whole song.
This is the face of a man with a dark muse cage.
Okay, so that's why I always say don't envy celebrities. It's a lot of them are legitimately haunted people. Look at Tiger Woods did this muse cage stuff. So did Michael Jordan. And it's one thing if it's just like you're psyching yourself up. It's another thing if it's your way of life. Like here's part 2. We'll just keep going through it.
Dominate, destroy, dominate.
You okay, little mamba?
Yeah, I'm dark musing. This is the face of a man with a dark muse cage. Darkness.
I mean, this is like trying to package demon summoning and like black magic to kids. So, and I got some. I'm excited to tell you guys my theories, but let's just watch a little more of this for people that don't. Because when you understand their religion, when you understand their way of thinking, it's not as powerful as you think it is. It's not as like daunting. It's not as like how. I mean, these people control everything. It's this. It's just this, and it isn't as like. There's no unifying forces to it. It's just people willing to degrade and demonize themselves in order to get billions of dollars in power. That's all it. All right, so check this out.
You know, dark musings alone aren't enough to destroy the competition. If you truly want to dominate, you're going to have to learn the game at a higher level. Who are your favorite players?
Russell Westbrook and James Harden.
People are saying this is disgusting. It is, but think of all the people that love watching people that do this all the time. And like the Super Bowl halftime show yesterday, my wife saw a little of it and she was like, it was a satanic ritual. Like they put like girls in cages on 2-2. There's like, I'm like, yeah. So many people are starting to see this stuff. Like normal people. Like if I'm just with my wife's family's friends and stuff, like people that are like cops and nurses and once you see it, it doesn't have the same effect anymore. It doesn't have the same power. Like hypnotism only works if you either let the person hypnotize you or you don't know you're being hypnotized. Once you're like, wait a minute, why are you swinging that watch? I'm not a chicken. It's like, you're a buzzkill, get out of here. So that's why this type of stuff is very freeing, because once you see the patterns, the tricks don't work like they once did. All right.
Not you.
Yeah.
The crystal ball of Kansas City. Anything you ever need to know about sports lives in its light.
Do you know the spell?
Oh, I do. I mean,
Like they're literally doing witchcraft. I was trying to like talk about this in a way so people can relate it and it doesn't just trigger them and go, what the fuck? But this is insanity. I understand the entry into it is just to be like, tap into that hate of like, you know, Michael Jordan would psych himself up by like starting a feud randomly with a guy who didn't, you know, like some random player on another team would be like, you know, it's going to be really hard playing against Michael Jordan. If we can keep him to 45 points, you know, that'll be a big win. And he's like, you think you can beat me? And they'd be like, what? No, they're like, I will. And that's how he would become this bigger than life superstar. But at what cost? You know, everything. And you also have to completely submit to the feminine, and I'll get to that.
Musology 101. Crystal ball. Show me your secrets. Show me them all. I want to see Russell. I want to see James. Teach me. Better my game.
All right, we get it. We get it. All right, let me just get to the point. I don't want to watch all the bike thieves just playing a little game. All right.
dunk in someone's face and yell at them. I want to score, assist, rebound. I want steals. I want blocks. I want a quintuple double.
Muse Cage.
Muse Cage.
Yeah, it's like an ad for kids to become demonic. Okay, so, but here's the thing about Kobe Bryant is he still would. He's clearly a terrible father, terrible husband, terrible teammate, terrible role model, everything terrible. But here's the one thing: he would sometimes let out his, like who he really was. And that's a no-no for the divine feminine. Like, so he's all hooked up with corporate America and stuff. And here's a couple of the things he got in trouble for. I found this interesting. Forget rape. Rape's fine for these people as long as they say they've learned and it's time we talk and all this this female tyranny nonsense. He called a ref a faggot and got like fined and suspended. He was coaching a girls team that got 4th place, and he was like. And one of the girls didn't show up because she had a dance routine, and he was like openly like, this girl doesn't have what it takes to win. And of course they came down on him, and then he showed an old dance routine pic that he was in where he's like, I used to dance like a humiliation ritual, and then they're like, okay, welcome back, Kobe. I think he was a little too masculine. You know, and I don't know what happened with the crash. I'm about to play you another video. It was either faked or something absurd that I don't understand, and I don't know. This is when I simmer the gravy. I don't know if he lives or dies, or if he new identity or Elysium, or they just kill him, or I have no idea, guys. All I know is once you hit that, when you're approved, when you're authorized, that's why our website's unauthorized.tv, because I'm very happy to not be authorized the more I learn about this stuff. You belong to them. So it's like, if you're more valuable dead than alive, you're dead. And then they'll use the death to boost up the emotions of the people, sell more jerseys, take you out, won't let you. Because there's a chance that Kobe was doing something good when this happened. Because if he was the type to be like, I really want to coach these girls really well, that's enough to cross the beast. Because the beast is like, no, it's about feelings. It's about never hurting anyone's feelings. It's about accepting all. The fact he called a ref a faggot and was like really pushing people to try hard. Yeah, he was too confident, right? He would be like, I don't want to take pictures with these losers. And people are like, it doesn't mean he's a good person. Still, he paid his price. He's paying his price. It's like when you walk that road, you don't exist anymore. You don't become bigger than life. You become nothing. The lowercase I, the iPhone. The insignificant narcissist, right? Good afternoon, BB and Sleuth. Hi, everybody. It's funny to me people are shocked by this. This ain't new. Right. That always doesn't annoy me because some of these people they're just not exposed to it, which is good. They don't watch, bike thief propaganda. But at this point, this is what it is. And this Super Bowl was good for people, I think, because it was so glaring. There's no more new celebrities. You have J-Lo and Shakira doing a satanic sacrifice dance. And if you've been exposed to any of these videos, it's like, you're like, what is this? And that's all you really need. You don't need to like spiral and become an activist or make a ton of videos or wake up your dentist's office. You just have to be like, as soon as you don't worship celebrity, as soon as you don't look up to them, as soon as you don't get tingly around famous people, it's already over. Nothing else, the whole thing falls apart. One of the reasons I do these videos, and a lot of people do these videos, isn't because we have to like take down Hollywood or take down the banking industry no. As soon as you don't love money, as soon as you're not willing to sacrifice family connection and health and stuff for money, as soon as you're not obsessed with celebrity, it's over. And that's it. And you don't need to. Do you see the Russian vids on Kobe having lunch with dead Heath Ledger? Yes. Okay. So, maybe I should grab that. I forgot to get that video. That's another very interesting piece of the pie. I can just tell you what the video says. Just trust me. This is what it is. So Kobe Bryant's ex-manager, agent guy, handler, was talking about how Kobe was trying to get into the like doing character work, and he saw Dark Knight, so he had a dinner with Heath Ledger to talk about getting into character. Unfortunately, I think that just slipped out because Heath Ledger was dead. And it's like, oh, it might have been an early screening. No, Heath Ledger died 6 months before the first screening. So that's something to note. And then this. So, and people are like, but the children, but all the other people on the helicopter. Let me show you this interview. I'm gonna plug this guy's channel. I'm just gonna play his commentary because it's funny because he has this funny accent, and I want to plug his work. PK censored, P-E-E-K-A-Y censored. It's called Kobe Bryant's Death. Is This Normal? Okay, so after we've seen what a crisis actor is, watch this guy just kind of talk about it a little bit. It's pretty funny. And it kind of cues you into the oddness of all of this. Like, this isn't how someone would act if they lost their wife. And especially just the fact they're doing interviews. Imagine if you lose someone in your family. The next day, would you sit down with Anderson Cooper and make sure everybody knew that your children's ages were 3, 9, and 11? Oh, conspiracy. Yeah, it doesn't work anymore. People are starting to see through the whole, like, yo, conspiracy theorist. Yeah, well, it turns out a lot of this world is a conspiracy. So this is only 5 minutes.
Christina Mauser was the team's assistant coach. Her husband telling me about the life they enjoyed with their 3 children. How difficult was that to tell?
Okay, Kobe Bryant killed in helicopter crash. This is only 2 or 3 days after. This guy here, his wife, died, one of the 9 victims. He's got 3 children. The first thing you do, obviously, is do an interview like this because, you know, that's all you worry about. You're distraught, you're heartbroken, you're shattered, you've got 3 children. You have to explain the death of their mother. But, yeah, you got to get on ABC News to do an interview. But it's hard to imagine how anyone can do that. Like, if it was me, I'd be absolutely distraught, and the last thing I want to do is have an interview. But obviously this guy's going to be in tears and broken down, and let's just check how he goes. But, yeah, rubbing his eyes, wearing sunglasses, that's what you do.
Let's see.
Let's just have a bit of a giggle. Go play that again.
Let's see.
Yeah, let's just have a laugh about it right from the start. This guy is absolutely distraught. So let's just have a bit of a laugh. Wearing these glasses so you can't see the fake tears. There's no tears whatsoever. Let's just keep going.
Dave, you know, it was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Look, it's trying to hide the smile, the drooping delight here. It's unbelievable.
As always,
look at these fake tears. You know, rubbing his nose, his cheeks. There's no tears.
How do you tell a child their mommy's no longer with us? Mauser was
The sniff like they always do, sniffing, but there's no tears.
handpicked by Bryant to be his assistant coach. Her husband says because he recognized her strong work ethic.
Kobe didn't pick my wife because she was average.
Oh, another bit of a giggle there. Play it again.
Kobe didn't pick my wife because she was average.
Oh, you got to be joking. Can you see the tears running down this guy's eyes?
I don't think anything he ever did was average.
Yeah. All about Kobe. I'd be talking about my wife, not about Kobe.
My wife, because she was exceptional at what she
Yeah, that dude needs a better muse cage for his fake acting.
They always are. Look, the sniff, good old sniff, no tears.
3 babies. 3, 9, and 11. How do you do that?
I don't know. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a little scared.
Bit of a laugh there.
You do that.
The guy's shattered.
I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a little scared.
That's funny, mate. Where's the tears?
Opens up about her tragic death.
It's just, I've been texting her.
Closes his eyes because he has to remember the script.
She usually is very good about letting me know when she lands, because it's always in the back of...
Yeah, you talk like this 3 days after your wife's been killed. Yeah, you talk like this.
We always were kind of just fearful of her flying in the helicopter.
Matt Melzer said
no emotion whatsoever.
As his wife flew in the helicopter a handful of times and would always get nervous when she would. Yesterday, when she didn't respond, he knew something was wrong, especially when someone called to see if she was okay.
And then he called me and said, "Is Christina okay? There's reports that Kobe's dead."
Oh, try to cry, mate.
I just hit the floor. She just adored the girls. She adored them all. She treated them like her own.
This bloke's heartbroken.
3, 9, and 11, plus Matt, who just wants his wife back so they can watch their kids grow together.
Oh, I loved her. It's as simple as that.
All right, so if you believe that, you know, and it's really good to see over 5,000 people in the chat. No one's buying it. People are, and the best thing I've seen in the chat is that people are just making fun of it. It's not like, oh, my world is spiraling. Your world only spirals if you worship celebrities. If not, you're like, it's gravy. You ladle the gravy, you dip the biscuits, you enjoy the biscuits. This Kobe's incident it's a job for Harrison Hanks. Hang on. And I also got the Russian Vits thing. I'm going to show that to you too. But after watching that horrible crisis actor, I think it's time for Harrison Hanks. Give me 1 second. I should have queued this up first, but I'm a full-blown return. Yeah, where the hell is Harrison Hanks? X that. I have too many windows open. It's all right. Just give me a second. Just enjoy the silence to ponder this world and the bizarre world of the Luciferian celebrity. All right, here we go. Harrison Hanks would have done a better job, and he's willing to work. Here we go.
Are you an elite? Are your staged attacks not going as planned? Are your globalist agendas failing because you're using subpar crisis actors? Well, then look no further. Hi, I'm Harrison Hanks, the ultimate crisis actor. Need a medical doctor? In 18 years as a medical examiner, I've never seen anything like it. Yeah.
Is this one over the top? Is this one different?
Yeah, it's over the top. 33 children died. Do you need a grieving husband? Did a right-winger set off a bomb? Right, yeah, we're just milling about over there. Had a massive explosion. And I'm your man. Tired of melodramatic acting?
There's light away from the darkness. I'm just trying to figure out if he's okay. I lost my 20-year-old, but I had 20 years with my son.
It's just tragedy.
Tragedy. How dare you?
Or maybe you need me to tone down my good acting to match your sorry lot of wannabes. In that case, I can go from this. My name is Bobby Parmer. My family's one of the families that lost a child. To this. My name is Bobby Parmer. And my family's one of the families that lost a child. Going for the guns takes subtlety, like this. I don't know how many more need to die before the president does something. Not this.
And please, could we do something with the assault weapons?
And every one of those hands is a reason why those weapons should not be out in the general public.
Because in this kind of a situation, what has changed? Have we learned nothing?
Tired of green screen mishaps and disappearing noses? Me too.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I'm green screen ready, bonded, and insured. I can morph into 1,000 different faces. I offer reasonable rates, and I have no conscience. Just pick your card to play on the world stage. From homeless to police officer, from doctor to witness, to your ace card, the grieving father. You can count on Harrison Hanks to push through your agenda. Regain their trust. Call Harrison Hanks for all your crisis needs. Thank you, and good luck.
That guy, by the way, is the ultimate gray man. I know I talk about becoming the gray man. I had a full dinner with him in Dallas. With me, him, Dave Weiss, and like Dave Weiss's chick. And Jeranism. And I liked him. I didn't remember him at all. And that's one of the funniest things I've seen in a really long time. And I've been playing it on my streams. And I was like, Weiss, do you know this guy? And he's like, dude, you ate dinner with him. And I'm like, the gray man. That's the gray man. Like, he was undetected by me. And I sat there a foot away from him for a good hour, eating and talking. And I had no idea who he, like, I didn't remember his face. Dude, he is the gray man. I think it could be, dude, the crisis, the Academy Awards for crisis acting would be really funny. I also think someone brought this up in the chat, a funny new, it's time to ban helicopters could be really funny. Where it's like, it's time to ban the helicopter. All right, let's watch the Russian vid thing on Heath Ledger. 1 second. Because I had some time to download it, as you guys enjoyed Harrison Hanks, the ultimate gray man. I'm just trying to do a thorough job with the Kobe thing, and then what could have happened. We can talk theories, but for mental stability and clarity, I've been at this a while, and now I'm seeing more and more people wake up to the reality that most of the things you're told in the mainstream are either grossly warped or fake. And that reaction can be wide range, from euphoria to depression to we got to do something to don't talk to me for a week. I recommend you just realize that your life is very real. You know, your life is very good. And just know your root, your base is you were created in love. There's a higher power, and he is good. And he doesn't have, as Chronicles of Judah said, is like, God's enemy isn't Satan. The Most High has no colleagues. He has no counterparts. He's like, Satan is the man's enemy here in this realm. And I'm like, yes. I was talking to Kad about that. It's one reason why I can do one video, Paul McCartney's dead, and then the next day, Paul McCartney might not be dead, and people will spiral, because I think one thing I have that most are getting it now. I have a root. You know, I'm a Christian. And that isn't like this big thing. It isn't like I'm like, oh, I just have a root. A root. That's my root. You know, and I can learn about all kinds of stuff, and I can talk about interesting things, and I can be friends with people of other faiths and beliefs as long as they're not a liar, because I have that root. To me, whether or not Paul McCartney is dead or alive isn't a big deal, because I don't worship celebrity, and I have a root. And so I highly recommend people get that foundation, you know, your feet planted, because if you're not, these times are going to get really wacky. I'm enjoying them because it seems like what was hidden is now revealed. None of this is new. You know, if you go back and watch PSAs from the 70s and listen to George Michael songs and all this, they've been flaunting this forever. It's just no one noticed. And now that which is hidden is being revealed, and it's really exciting and fun if you're not scared. All right, so let's watch Russian Connection vid. And so the people without like a strong root system are in for a wild ride. All right, here we go. This is Russian vids, another OG. As I was checking out the chat, the guy I plugged earlier with that other video, I guess, is an OG. Like, he's been at this a while, so I'm glad I get to give some props to some of the shoulders of giants that people like me are standing on. it's a great community. It's just people ladling gravy. As soon as you see people trying to scare you, say the world's about to end, sometimes I like to do that just to give myself a good perspective, is go back, listen to the videos 5 years ago that were saying that the world was about to end. Listen to the fear. Listen to when they say, like, you need, it's coming any day now. And no, it didn't. And like, now that it didn't. So recognize the pattern of like, yeah, people are going to continuously say the world's going to end, and they've identified the Antichrist and blah, 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 blah. And the mark of the beast is almost here, blah, blah. That's not going to change. People are going to do that, and they're going to try and profit on it. Some of them believe it. I believed it when I thought it for a little bit. I was like, this financial system has to collapse. No, it doesn't. It can just keep tightening and shifting and bending. It's not like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like gut biome. It's like the universe in your gut and what they crave and what they eat and all this can bend and change and go through all these phases without you dying or sometimes even noticing. And that's why it's like it's an interesting time, and to not be afraid and to just ladle that gravy. Know when to simmer the gravy. Do a little taste test to make sure it's not poison gravy. Forgive yourself if you were duped, and just keep crushing. Make sure you have a family. Fear will make people not want to bring a child into this world because they think the world's going to end. Well, guess what? That's the genocide. That's what people did. They tried to, around the 20s, they tried kicking everyone off the farm because that was so rooted. They got all these idiots to sell their farms for money, and then they slowly tried to take down the father figure. They empowered the woman in divorce, and then they tried to break down gender and promote homosexuality. Yeah, they accomplished a lot of it, but they still didn't, though. At any moment, you can jump off the crazy train. They've accomplished a lot with the breakdown of family and the Luciferian agenda and all that. But see, the thing is, it's like gut biome. A lot of them don't even know what they're doing. They're just feeding on their level, and the big picture is demonic. It's spiritual. It's beyond human comprehension. And so the good news is a lot of these things that we're terrified of happened. Protocols of Zion, they got it. They got their new world order. They broke the family. They made divorce cool. They promoted home. Yeah, well, guess what? Any moment of any day, every human being can just say, not anymore. I'm infinitely more moral now than I was when I was 25. Way more. Like, I'm going the other direction, and I see that all over the place. And so, yeah, you're going to watch people careen into this lazy river of female tyranny and equality of outcome and celebrity worship and goat bullshit. But you don't have to. It's your choice. And no one's kicking in your doors, guys. This is all between you and God and your beliefs. All right. Unless you can put Hillary Clinton in jail, you're safe. Have a family. Don't be scared. Don't be a bitch.
First off, I want to thank my friend John Contouris for bringing this to my attention, the owner of GreekNewsOnDemand.com. The connection with Kobe Bryant and Heath Ledger, I find it very fascinating. But before doing so, just want to point out John's website. And again, obviously, it's in Greek and also in English. He covers mainly Greek news, but also U.S. news as well. A lot of interesting articles. You can definitely take a look. Definitely bookmark this page and give it a look when you get a chance for news, again, on all aspects of what's taking place in the matrix that we live in. And this is like a glitch in the matrix where Lakers GM Rob Pelinka tells a bizarre story about arranging a meeting between Kobe Bryant and Heath Ledger months after the Dark Knight Rises star supposedly passes away. One thing that needs to be made clear is Rob Pelinka is not only the GM of the Lakers, he's also a personal friend of Kobe Bryant, of course, also his former agent. And to really emphasize how well Pelinka knows Kobe Bryant, let's take a look here at this news article from MSN.com, and you'll see how close they are. It states here, Rob Pelinka is the general manager, of course, of the Lakers. Pelinka was also Gianna's godfather. Of course, Gianna is Gigi, one and the same. And this really is a very important point to make, showing the connection, how well they know each other. And that gets to the video, which I'm going to show right now. And here is Rob Pelinka himself speaking of The Rock, of course, Dwayne Johnson. And I find it, again, very bizarre, very fascinating at the same time what is said. Let's get to the very beginning of this clip.
Side of just basketball.
Yeah.
And I remember just a really quick story. There was one time when Kobe, who I worked with for 18 years, was going back to play Madison Square Garden. And he had just seen The Dark Knight. Obviously, you guys saw that movie. And he's like, hey, hook me up with dinner with Heath Ledger, because he got so locked into that role. I want to know how he mentally went there. And so we had dinner with Heath, and he talked about how he locks in for a role, and Kobe used some of that in his game against the Knicks in terms of mental preparation.
So how does Kobe Bryant have dinner with a dead man? Again, months after supposedly Heath Ledger passed away. And I want to make this perfectly clear. Heath Ledger supposedly passed away 6 months before the screening of the movie itself. And also, again, to make it very clear, Rob Pelinka never came out afterwards giving a side of the story that he forgot or...
Okay, so here's the gravy. So this is very confusing because people are like, well, why would they keep Heath alive, blah, blah, blah. Dude, it could be as simple as that hat there, that little grabbler that was just talking. He may have just completely lied. He might be such a pathological liar, because Kobe Bryant was also a pathological liar. Until he would have moments of telling the truth, though, and I think that the Beast wasn't a big fan of that. But he could have just been completely lying and seamlessly. You know, I've known people that I've been very close to in my life that lie to a degree where I don't even think they know they're lying. Or he just revealed that Heath Ledger didn't die, because Heath Ledger's death is insane. You know, that isn't how people die. They don't die getting a massage at the Olsen twins' house because they were taking like Percocets or something. That isn't what it is. He got into some character. He faked his death. I don't know though. See, this is the thing that's where things can get dicey, is when without any evidence, you just immediately jump to say, well, I mean, clearly he was put in a cage and whacked off to death. It's like, no. Or it's like, oh, clearly they killed off his character and he's living in Cuba. It's like, I don't know, man. But it's the best thing for ladling gravy. So much Illuminati shit in the Parnassus movie Heath was in. Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I saw people break it down. There's no truth in them. Right, there's no truth in them. They're worms. That makes more sense. The best thing about this is seeing it and going, oh, I don't want to be anything like these people. I don't want them influencing me or my kids. You know, women should not want to have sex with them or be in their shiny cars. Duping delight, look it up, how to spot a liar. Always tricky when you have to believe a grabbler. Well, I mean, grabbler is a state of mind. It's not just the hats. But, you know, the reason that the hats are more likely to be a grabbler is because they take pride in it in their culture. And they'll tell you that. You know, I've known a lot of hats. It's called chutzpah. And if you can trick someone into doing something, it's seen as like great. And that's why what I'm saying isn't, you know, it's like certain people take a lot of pride in stealing bikes. It's like, not only is it not shunned in a certain type of hat community, it's seen as like, it's how you impress your mom, where it's like, you know, I fooled people into thinking this, and then I sold all this, and did I do good, mama? And they're like, oh, you did great. Oh, what's next? It's like, I will convince a goyim that this gold is brass. Haha. It's like, and so then their whole thing is, well, they should have known. I'm friends with this one Israeli. And when I first found out about the lies to get America into Iraq from Netanyahu, I was like, you guys lied, or Netanyahu, because she liked Netanyahu. And I was like, but he lied to get America into war. And she just goes, yeah, but you guys believed us. And I knew she was cool. Like, she's a cool person. So I know it's not like she's pathological. It's like her culture is like, if you fall for the trick, you're wrong. And once you understand that, your veils drop. That's why I can make fun of hats without caring at all. And I also don't have rageful anger at them. I don't, I know that they believe it's our fault for believing their tricks. And so the thing to watch out for is once you see the trick, and from your culture, if someone is that tricky, it's their fault, right? And so that's when cultures go like this. Because wrath is a ticket. Wrath is a terrible thing to do. Vengeance is the Lord's. So if people freak out on the hats and start like, the best place to be is the autonomy and knowing that it's your responsibility to see through people. Like if you're like, well, this foreign leader who has a vested interest in a giant military attacking this one country told us something with no evidence. It's like you're crazy if you believe it. And that's why I'm like, oh, it's a hat. Because I know that it's tricky. And that's why I'm also not mad at them. It's odd. I only was like mad when I was like applying my culture. Where in my culture, if you lie and trick, like that's bad. In their culture, if you lie and trick, it's like good business. And so it's kind of like when the settlers and some of the American Indians would have some of these wars. A lot of it was because a lot of American Indians didn't understand the concept of territory. They're like, like our land is where the buffalo goes. We follow them, we crush, and that's it. And the settlers would do these like treaties where it's like, okay, this square is ours. And the Indians were like, whatever, man. And they would try to do a treaty, but they fundamentally had a different view of the world, where the American Indian would be like, our territory is that herd of buffalo. They didn't, the two-dimensional map didn't mean anything to them. So they were like, that's why when people are like, oh, Indians are so stupid, they sold Manhattan for some beads. They're like, yeah, the buffalo don't go to Manhattan. Have fun. And so when you have farmer versus hunter, you're not having the same conversation. And that's when you can develop these like horrific blood feuds where the grabblers are like, okay, we're going to use magic, trickery, and confidence schemes to convince you to do everything we want and to give us all the money. And because in their culture, it's like very low trust. If someone's selling something, you assume it's poison. And so, and I'm starting to get it. That's their nature, hard to understand. Yeah, but it's also culture. Like they're open about it when you just listen. When you really listen. Like when that one guy from Blaze TV, or is it Ari Levin? No, I don't want to get it wrong. It's not Ari Levin. It's another hat. Where one of my friends, who's a producer on a big conspiracy show, this hat was there, and he was explaining to this big conspiracy guy how to manipulate people using like kids dying and like women in pain. He's like, the best is you get a pregnant woman, and you show the shoes, and it's not Mark Levin. I got that wrong. It's not him. It's the one that is boys with Tommy Robinson. What's that guy's name? I don't remember his name. But it's the type of thing where when they heard my song for Tommy Robinson, they're like, ooh, they're like, so much emotion. Yeah, Ezra, right. So I didn't understand that concept because that to me is so foreign, because you're known by your word. I'm part of an honor culture, and they're part of a culture where it's like, wow, that's great emotion creation. And so that's why people like me would be so upset, where I'm like, yeah, read the fine print. Yeah, they're like, if you don't read the fine print, it's your fault. And if you give up that, if you say, no, if you trick me, it's your fault, you just made yourself a goat or a cow. That's why they view Goyim as cattle. Because if you say, I don't have the ability of seeing through lies, so you have to treat me like a lesser citizen, they're like, oh, Avi Amini. No, I like Avi. He's a Zionist, which I'm not into. I think it's pretty bad. It's up there with socialism and all these isms that people think they can heal the world here on earth, which is impossible. But no, it was like one of my friends overheard this conversation between Ezra and this other guy, where it was like how to manipulate people. And once you understand that, you're like, oh, that's their literal culture. It's the same with like gypsies, like in the movie Snatch. Avi Amini is so autistic, he'll just admit, yes, I want Jews to rule the world. Right, that's why I like him. I stick with my policy, guys. I like people that just are what they are. Avi Amini is like a guy who's like, I want Jews to rule the world. And I'm like, I know exactly where you stand. Thank you for admitting it, because a lot of these other people won't admit it, but they do that. That's how I judge people. That's how I can listen to like some of these black enthusiasts because they have great gravy, because I'm like, oh, you're saying what you think, and now I will listen to your gravy. The only people that I just completely exclude from my eyes and ears are when I've identified that they're snakes. Like they will say and do anything for money or like Joe Rogan. People are like, did you hear what Rogan said? I'm like, no, he doesn't go in the ears. Because the more I just let in authentic perspectives, the more I can see patterns and come to conclusions. We should come up with our own psyop and put a pile of baby shoes in front of abortion clinics. That's genius, Breaking Bear. A conversation about manipulative conversations. Yeah, and then when you really listen, they tell you all the time. Like Ben Shapiro, Sam Harris, they'll tell you that this is how they are. And like gypsies and pikeys, it's the same thing. It's like, so they set up like, I'll bet you for it. With Brad Pitt was like, I want a caravan for me, ma. And the guy's like, what? And so he's being intentionally vague. Like you can't understand what he's saying, all by design. They rigged the dog chase so the other guys would lose. And they're like, yeah, you took the bet. And I don't think we should be like them, but you should understand that when in Rome, you know what I mean? It's like when you're dealing with people who culturally take pride in manipulation. That's why when people are like, Israel has nuclear bombs, I'm like, what planet do you live on? A, nuclear bombs are a hoax, and B, can't people see through it? Like how they are, they're like, oh, we wouldn't sign the treaty, but let's just say we have the Samson option, man. And I'm like, dude, they're magicians on the side of a road. It's your caravan for me, ma. A caravan for me, ma. Put a bike lock next to a ghetto. Yeah, and I'm going to show you a really funny bike thief video in a little bit. And so that's how you can still function in this world effectively. It's not effective to just hate Jews or hate gypsies or hate. You just go, oh, okay, leave me alone, gypsy. It's almost like when you're in Vegas and people would just be handing flyers and trying to trick you into going places and no one takes a flyer. That's the culture you develop. Like one time I was doing a commercial for Southwest Airlines and I was giving away a free, like tons of them. I had a ton of free airplane tickets anywhere in the country. Like real, like no scam. I've been given all these tickets where all someone had to do is tell a joke on camera, their favorite joke, and they got a free airline ticket. And it was in Vegas. I was on the strip, just trying to go up to people. And no one would bite. Like people, I'd be like, hey, do you want a free airline ticket anywhere in the country? And people would be like, I don't want your whores. I don't want your prostitutes. Because they had developed a culture to get past it. It's like everything that Netanyahu says is trying to get you into war. Once you understand that, when they're like, babies and incubators, you're like, stop. And it was crazy to me. I'm like, none of these people want, and it was all real. There was no scam. And I realized that the culture on the Vegas Strip had developed to where they don't listen to any pitches and they assume everything's a lie. And so I don't recommend you become low trust, because high trust is how Westerners crush. But when someone says, I'm a grabbler, and this is why you should fight my wars, just go like this. Get out of here, grabbler. BB, it takes me ages to come to believing stuff like nukes being fake. Glad you do what you do. I can't get there without a master gravyman. If you don't, it's fine. Just don't get mad at me for the gravy. As long as you're just everybody thinks different things. Like there's certain things that I believe that I'm always open for more gravy and stuff. The nuclear bomb hoax story, the nuclear bomb story is so bad. Everything from Oppenheimer to the test areas to the fact that there's never detectable radiation. Hiroshima and Nagasaki were reported as firebombs. You know, the New York Times was the only media allowed to report during it for 3 months. Penalty of death if anyone else reported it. And it was one Lithuanian hat who worked for the War Department. So all the reports in Japan were that it was firebombings, just like they've been doing forever. There was no residual radiation. The physics is all off. They've never been used again. All the test sites have no radiation. The radiation thing doesn't even make sense. You know, the Manhattan Project was one of the biggest cash scams in the history of the world. Oppenheimer is one of the most obvious wizard retards ever. It's like none of it works. And if you really think about it, how much fear has come from nuclear bombs and no one ever dies of them. It's like AR-15s on steroids. It's like there's no radiation. Like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, at no point did any living organisms have to leave because of radiation. And so what bomb in the history of the world what weapon has been used once? Everyone's like, this is too good. And then no one uses it again. And then, so why would they do it? Because it's world domination. If two men are sitting at a table and one says, I have a gun under the table, don't move. And the other says, I have a gun too. They just sit there. And so that's it. And then it becomes this weird Masonic initiation where, oh, this country's now nuclear, which means you can't invade them, because I think it has way more to do with currency. But it's fine. It's not, it's not a friendship ending gravy session. It's just, if you think nukes are real, just tell me why. Tell me what your evidence is. Tell me how. Because when you look at why Japan surrendered, it was a lie. They surrendered because Russia invaded Manchuria 72 hours after the second atomic bomb. Those quote unquote, those bombs, the bombings were like 17th and like 21st as far as city destruction. It wasn't even close. So that's it. And I'm not saying that I think there's weapons that exist that are terrifying, like directed energy weapons that can create crazy fires. So I'm not saying that like there isn't such a thing as crazy weapons, but that's why I don't believe in nuclear bombs at all, because it's fear porn. There's no radiation. The physics is horrible behind it. All the testing, the Bikini Atoll is the only place where it's like, oh, you can't go for thousands of years. Just so happens to be a little tiny bit of sand that you're legally not allowed to go to. I guarantee if you went there, it'd be fine. Hiroshima, what was it? What was the meltdown in Ukraine or whatever? It was 1986, I think. My brain's a little fried. So much gravy. Oppenheimer looked like a scripted alien. Yeah. Moabs are scarier than nukes. Yeah, well, it's just a really effective bomb. The reason nukes are a great psychological fear porn tool is because they say it'll make the land uninhabitable for 100,000 years. It'll poison the rivers and blacken the skies. The nuclear holocaust for the entire world, the globe, cannot grow food anymore. That whole, Chernobyl, yeah, that whole apocalyptic, the government can push a button and everyone dies forever, is way different than a Moab. A Moab is like, that can fuck you up, but it's still a bomb. It's not universal poison. Chernobyl melted down. They're like, this land cannot be inhabited for 1,000,000 years. What have we done? And the whole fear porn behind it is create this notion that humans are viruses on the earth when we're made in love from God. We're the shepherds. And there was a group of women that never left, and they're fine. It's like now it's like a natural wildlife preserve. And now scientists are such idiots that they're like, not idiots, but they don't see reality, a lot of them. They're like, it turns out radiation is very, very good for diverse wildlife. It's like, or, I wonder whatever happened to the neutron bombs. I don't know, but those sound like gravy. That sounds like there's a little bit of the directed energy technology was revealed in neutron. Neutron bombs are saying that non-charged particles, neutrons, not protons or electrons, neutrons could pass through infrastructure and vaporize people, so it would leave all the infrastructure and all the people would be gone. Yeah, that's a genocide that's more effective. It's called destroying the family, the atomic family, the nuclear family, right? If you want to kill a bunch of people and leave all the buildings standing, convince them all not to have children because there's nuclear bombs. You see how the magic trick works? There's truth in it, but it's not what you think it is. Michael Savage told me the neutron bomb. Well, neutron bomb sounds interesting. It sounds a little bit like directed energy, where you can have something that vaporizes organisms but doesn't. But the takeaway is there isn't weapons that just make everything poison for 1,000,000 years. That's not real. And so when you understand that, it's way less scary because it's still like contained to an area. Stanley Kubrick taught me all I need to know about nuclear bombs. Space Mouse made my sister start crying. I felt bad. Well, just, it's good. It's good for your sister. BB, there is a Beyond Graveled film called Lucy in the Sky with diamonds about a lady who suffered from PTSD after a space mission. Yeah, I mean, it sounds crazy. I'm a scientist. My agenda is collect my paycheck and go home to crush. Beautiful. And like the way science was described to me is not evil or bad. The scientific method is awesome. Engineering, awesome. Scientism, science as there's this mind exercise. Let's just dream. Let's dream. And then they say, oh, that dream's real now. Why? Because we dreamed it. It's like, that's not. So that's why when I'm against science, it's science as told to us now. It's all bad. Science as told to us by the scientific method, when you can measure things observably, like show me the curve of the earth. Like that type of shit. It's like, how dare you? How dare you? It's like, show me how a lighthouse would work 40 miles out if there's a curve. 8 inches per mile squared. It's like, you sir. I'm like, oh no, this is all emotional. This is all emotion. This is all your little God Pan, huh? I was a scientist. I can question about things. Science can't answer questions about anything more than itself. Right. It's a religion. It's Luciferianism. It's upside down. But the science has been settled. Don't you know the world is becoming hot and everything will die by 2008? It never happened. Silence! I'm wearing the white lab coat robe of the scientist. It's like, shut up. Like the curve thing is why I know the world isn't a spinning. Well, the spinning ball thing, if I'm like, oh, you want to dream? How does a hot air balloon work? You go up 50,000 feet, you hang out for 2 hours, and you go down. Why aren't you 1,000 miles away if the Earth is spinning so fast? Well, the atmosphere is spinning at the same exact rate. Well, you can use the fluid fiction or friction. Like, how does that work? And if that was true, why does the what's that thing called? The jet stream go the opposite direction? And they're like, silence. I'm like, all right. College philosophers spiral when you call out this kind of stuff using their own rules of logic. It's fun. Yeah, that's why comedy's so big. Because if you go head to head with an indoctrinated person, there's a programming that comes in where they freak out. They have to see it themselves. It's a personal journey. OMG, not the white lab coat. Right. And then when they say, why don't you trust the science behind vaccines? I'm like, because you've lost all my trust. You have to show me how it works with control groups. They're like, we can't risk it. If everyone doesn't get a vaccine, everyone will die. That would be unethical. I'm like, well, according to the Tuskegee experiment and all this stuff, you guys aren't exactly ethical. Why don't you use it on dogs? Oh, that's right. Purdue University already did that, and dogs with vaccines died younger. So how about you try just human vaccines on dogs? Have you not seen the Sarah McLachlan commercials? You will be raping an angel if you do that. Okay, mice, how dare you? It's like, oh, so it doesn't work. You know that it's a total scam. How dare you? Scientism is preferred. And it's not even like everyone's trying to kill you or weaken you. Most medical people think vaccines are great because they're like information hierarchy is they trust it and all that. It's like a lot of soldiers. That's why a lot of soldiers can live in Logos fighting in unjust wars, because it's like, I follow my commander's orders, and that's how it works. And that's why you just say no. The real N-word is no. I don't want vaccines. They go, are you sure? You go, yeah. And then they go, okay. And that's it. That's why when people are so scared, they're like, they're coming. They're going to inject me with gayness in my anus. It's like, have you tried saying no yet? But how can I say no? I must just arm myself. And when the nurses come with the needles, have you tried saying no? But then they will bring us into court and take my little Billy. It's like, have you ever seen that outside of the internet? Children are born not needing any of their needles. Right. I understand the concept of vaccines. I understand where it's like a dead pathogen triggers an immune response so that your immune system is capable of fighting off it when it becomes real. That's still not logical because every pathogen mutates so quickly. They can't, they never catch the flu exact mutation. So how can it work on any level? And if your body can develop the immunity to it, just when it comes, it'll do it. That's it. It's like, well, no, we have to trigger it before so that you never get the disease. It's like, well, but if you trigger the immune response from the dead disease, that means you have an immune response. Well, no, but if you get the disease, it's too late. It's like, how? It's like, how dare you? If you get the measles, you will die. It's like, well, when I was a kid, people would still send their kids to houses where the kid had measles so that they would become immune to it by getting the measles and just drinking a lot of water and relaxing. It's like, how dare you? It's like, my dad and brother are doctors and neither would get a flu shot. No. A lot of them are starting to see it. But want to know? Because they're going too rapidly. I would be asleep to vaccines if it was just like 3. You got certain vaccines and, because there is less death now from disease than in the early 1900s, allegedly. But I do think so, probably because of sanitation and stuff. But the fact that now it's like 70, people are like, what? It's the same with like trans kids. And it has the opposite effect where now people are like, let's rethink homos. All right, for a lot of you that are just joining, I'm going to Orthodox Jews don't vaccinate their kids. Yeah, there's a ton of base Jews, by the way. Tons. They're like the urban Amish. That's how I describe some of the base Jews. They don't want to be in your business. They have very specific trades, extremely disciplined people. They turn the light out at this time. They read all these books. They believe in and fear God. And then you have your grabblers. And the grabbler is like, oh. It's interesting. BB, right. We wanted to get our kids over with it. Yeah. Because if you don't get chicken pox sometimes and you get it when you're older, you can develop like shingles, which is kind of like skin herpes. I haven't gotten a flu shot in a decade. I've only had one vaccination in my entire life, and it was the flu shot while Amy was pregnant because I have a great doctor, and she said that, to try and not get sick while she's sick, and it's all right. It only made me just a little gay for like a month. I'm just kidding. A lot of it's benign. I think that they build up when you have to take like 20, and that's when your whole system can shut down. Babies their systems can shut down. But yeah, I mean, it's just all really gay and dumb. All right, it's mind-blowing how poison the well is the uterus. Well, we're on our 3rd kid. And I used to watch a lot of pornography and drink a lot of alcohol. And I've seen chemtrails over my house. I just think it's despair and fear that is the real poison. All right, I'm going to replay the last Bernie Bro for the people that are joining now. I haven't seen it in a while, but this is almost 2 years old. Eric Nimmer's still funny, even though he did steal my bike. But it's bigger than just socialism because it's about the reality of the feminized man can accomplish nothing. And so one thing that I like to do as a comedian is to create the character, the embodiment, the archetype of this and put it in a real life situation. And then people can laugh, but yet internalize the truth of it. So let me find that again. Are you guys enjoying this? Oh, by the way, unbearablesmerchandise.com if you want to get a sweet Logos Rising commuter mug. Ryan made these. Unauthorized.tv, as always, the new documentary, You're Doing Great, Kid, is coming out this month. P.O. Box 727, Gig Harbor, Washington, 98335, if you want to support the channel. Unlike PBS, it really is listener funded. They have the Rockefellers. They're like, funded by the Rockefellers and the Carnegies, but we need your help. Fuck that. P.O. Box. Thanks for all you do. Oh, thanks for the diamond. Thanks for all you guys do. Everyone's crushing. Mind-blowing how many families don't have TVs and don't follow any of the fear porn. Dude, it's great. It's great. And this is the key. It's not even that they don't have TVs. It's that they don't look up to celebrities anymore. That they don't just believe everyone in a lab coat. And there's huge amounts, like I'm deep in the gravy. Like I don't believe in dinosaurs, nuclear bomb, and dinosaurs are a hoax. It's all good. You know, I've had Ali Damagard on my channel. It's like I'm, you know, pretty red. I'm like very awake to a lot of things, right? I can hang out with people that are just on the spectrum at any place. All it has to be is like, the Super Bowl dance was weird, right? That's it. The spell's broken as soon as you see that. And then your level of gravy is your decision. And people can drown in gravy. People can sip the gravy. People can simmer the gravy. And that's what I do here. And it's really fun. And it's a great life to just simmer. And know that we can't heal the world, as the Jew says. Tikkun Olaf or whatever. It's like, no, once you realize that you can't fix this, all you can do is live in honor of the Most High, your creator, you know, and give love and respect and live under natural law and do the best job you can. That's all we can really do. And ironically, the more you do that, the more life gets good for everybody. All right. Here's the Bernie one again. Then I'm going to read some mail and then call it a day. There we go.
My name is Chad, and I'm a Bernie bro. There used to be millions of us. Then there were thousands. Now there's only me. We stood for something greater than ourselves, equality of outcome. The greedy capitalists called us morons, said we didn't have jobs and we lived off our pants. I mean, that's all true, but they did not have to say it like that. When I first heard Bernie Sanders, something in me changed.
You know, it's funny, sometimes American journalists talk about how bad a country is because people are lining up for food. That's a good thing.
I knew that the problems in my life were not my fault. They were someone else's fault. Capitalism, greed, America, not me.
Oh, by the way, I'm just going to add a little commentary. Like when I just said that, it's so obvious that the Bernie bros were like that. The problems in this world are not my fault. I now knew that to be true. Same thing applies to blaming Jews for everything. I know that sounds a little foreign because it's so basically illegal to criticize anything that has to do with Jews, but it's the same demon. It's the same pathological feminine where it's like, nothing's my fault. If I had a bad loan or I clipped my dick, the tip of my dick, it's the Jew. The real way out of that trap is it's not anyone else's fault. Be grateful we're here and can learn these lessons, you know, because another trap is just blaming Jews for your problems, even though it's a little more accurate than the patriarchy, but it's a dead end. It's a dead end to just continuously ring that bell of like, they're building the third temple, you know, Noahide laws, they're coming for our dicks. It's like, no, live. Most of those people have no kids. You notice that? Every one of them, they have too much work to do. They have too much awakening to do. They can't be bothered with actually having children and raising them properly. Thanks. Here we go.
Everyone else turned on Bernie Sanders. I did not. Bernie spoke of a land that listened to him and had the courage to follow the dream. I couldn't find it on a map or spell it, but I knew it had carried his dream and I would find it. I brought only my machete, a frisbee, bubbles, two La Croix, and my trusted vape pen.
Yeah, you guys want a little gravy? Someone said it's been, I think there's a chance Bernie Sanders was the Zodiac killer. Not only can I not prove that, if you disagree with me, you may be right, unlike the dinosaur thing. But the Zodiac Killer was described looking exactly like Bernie Sanders, and then the Zodiac Killer allegedly fled to Vermont, and there's a disproportionately high amount of serial killers in a certain community. I would not be surprised.
The natural environment is raw, beautiful. When I think about white privilege and America and capitalism, I flip out on it and beat the shit out of it. Greedy capitalism makes me freak out so frickin' bad. My name is Chad. And if you are reading this, just know there is hope for you too. Come. The socialist utopia Bernie Sanders dreamed about. Escape America's evil rich clutches if you dare and try to break into a dream. A dream that is Venezuela. My name is Chad.
His name was Chad. Because he's definitely dead now.
Yes! Venezuela! I'm here! I want to come in Venezuela so bad, and these walls divide us. Please, just open your gates to me.
You want to come in?
Yes, please.
Like in here?
I've come all the way through this horrible jungle from America to be a part of your beautiful utopia. I was a Bernie Sanders supporter.
You're an American.
A lot of shame, I know. The land of greed and meanness. I want equality.
Do you have a passport?
Oh, of course, the shameful document that keeps people apart.
Let me see.
I'll burn it right now.
Wait, no, stop. Stop it. Put it down. Put it down. You wait right there.
Okay, I'll do anything. I can't wait to play Frisbee and blow bubbles.
Is that valid?
Unfortunately, yes.
All right, pick it up slowly. Hand finger. Hold this.
But why would I want
freedom? Hold this.
But why would I want a gun in a land of utopia?
Stay right here.
But aren't these illegal?
No, take back!
Where are you going, sir? Man, that man's very confusing. Who are all these people running towards me? Why do they look like skeletons? Hello? Where do I play hacky sack around here? And who has some goddamn La Croix?
Thank you, Papa J. Bear. Oh, and also, feel free to clip up any of these things because we hit so many topics. Owen Benjamin Bear Cave and False Witness Bear V2 will upload the whole episodes every day. Feel free, Owen Benjamin Gravy will do topics because topics are good for people that use these differently. Like, I like long ones because I just work outside all day and I know a lot of you guys commute and work and stuff. But start clips channels with topics. It's great. Also, I'm going through my letters for today. Denmark Bear, are you here? I can make you a member in the chat because some people have a hard time joining for payment reasons or whatever. And the ones I know, the only reason we even do members only sometimes is to get rid of trolls. So Denmark Bear, if you're here, will you please just say something so I can just make you a member? And then I'll read these letters. And then a little bit of culture war. Hang on a second. I'm going to change chat room settings. Is it only subscribers only? Followers only. I'm going to confirm this for a little bit. Yeah, Cod, if you're here, if Denmark Bear says anything, make him a member. And any other bears that we can all vouch for that want to be able to chat, that have a hard time joining for whatever reason, Cod, we have lemons. Let's hook it up. Denmark Bear, hello. Somebody give me. Yep, you're in. You're in, Denmark Bear. Okay, dearest Big Bear, here's your contribution for the goats. Get some of that sweet orchard grass, dude. That's what we use. Also, is there any way you can make me a member on DLive? Just happened. Never stop, Denmark Bear. Thank you, Denmark Bear. Crusher. Denmark is here, sweet. Greetings, Big Bear. I want to say thank you for the laughs, hope, and words of wisdom throughout my time watching you. I discovered you in 2007 and watched for some time, however, stopped around the time of my graduation from engineering due to starting a new job, and I wasn't a fan of your seemingly angry, alcohol-induced, intense rants. Well, you sound like a bit of a pussy. Granted, I no longer drink, but you should have been able to handle that on the internet. All right. I rediscovered you through Wrangler Star, who crushes, and began to watch just before the great YouTube purge of one. Yeah, it was pretty much just me. I wanted to tell you I apologize for judging you and now understand you and myself better. I see that oftentimes you are working ideas out loud in ways that I sometimes do in my head, and the stream is a means for instant feedback and community. Exactly. If these were my polished scripts every day, yeah, you have a right to judge me a little, because I'm like, okay, what I'm going to do tonight is for 3 hours, I'm just going to spiral about banks. Yeah, if I type that out, I'm like, this is what I do. No, it's always what I don't have my notes for today. Ready? Can't go at divine feminine, ref faggot. That's my script for the day. So that's why a lot of people like this. It's ridiculously authentic, but at the same time, you're gonna have to deal with the occasional working through ideas. I am 33 years old, Illuminati confirmed, and gave my life to Christ at 27, raised Catholic. My wife, then girlfriend, invited me to church and helped me understand many things about faith and the gospel. Prior to that, I was a bartender for many years and did a lot of things I am not proud of, involving a dumpster. I'm not going to the desires of the flesh. I'm still tempted by the pornos, and I'm working to stay strong. Want to know a good way to get around it? Start calling them dirty movies. Just be like, I'm tempted by these dirty movies. It makes it sound like you have to wear like a trench coat to watch it. That's why I call them pornos or porno movies. Like the dirty movies. It's just way less, because when they called them dirty movies, there was still shame in watching it. I appreciate your honesty on the subject. One day you were looking right at the camera and said, "You are a cuck if you watch porn," and it hit me right in the chest. That same day I heard a podcast host say the same thing. Coincidence? Not to sound weird. You've come to the right place, by the way. You can sound weird, buddy. But when I am tempted, I see you yelling that at me and challenging me to not give in. No, I hear that all the time. That's why it gets kind of awkward when I do shows or went to like this one conference. It's like dude after dude after dude is like, when my hand's about to grab my own cock, I think of you and then I don't. Thank you, Big Bear. I'm like, enough. It's very common for men to do that these days. And yeah, I guess I'm what they think of, and then they don't whack off. My wife and I have a 1-year-old daughter and working on 2. Congrats on 3. You have opened my eyes to so much gravy in these last few months, and I now laugh at so many things I see out in the world. I floated the moon landing to my wife one day, and she said, "You're just now figuring that out?" Exactly. Anyway, about 5 years ago, some church friends of ours started talking to us about budgeting and becoming debt-free. 6 months before our daughter was born, we finished paying off all of our debt except for the mortgage. Great, that's where I'm at too. I still have a mortgage, but it's all good. It was hard on my wife to go to work after maternity leave. She no longer had the same spark. We discussed a plan to have more, to save more and potentially have my wife stay at home in a couple years. Yes, it'll save money in the long run too. She's been with her company for 10 years and brings home 60% of our household income. But God had a different plan. He opened the door and showed us that it could be done now. Her last day was in January, and she will be staying home with our daughter. It'll save money on food, medical expenses, daycare, future nursing homes. Like, strong families are, giving up. If you make $40 an hour, in reality, if you go to work instead of being a mom, you're making $10 an hour. And then you're going to give up motherhood for $10 an hour. I mean, come on. No more cubicle, no more daycare, no more despair. We are also going to plant a garden in the spring. Please accept these seeds as a small token of my appreciation for all you do every day. Thank you for all the good times and gravy. Stephen, P.S. You really don't realize how bad your handwriting is until you try to write a letter. Love it. Love it, Steven. Thank you for the letter. It's great. Very authentic. Hey, Big Bear, I just upgraded my unauthorized.tv subscription from Feed the Bear to basic subscription to help support the channel. Yeah, but either's good. Whatever is easy for you guys. Don't make it a thing where you have to be like, oh man, I can't afford it. If that's the case, contribute in another currency. Spread the word. Make clips channels. Just tune in and it doesn't matter. The reason I always just say the Feed the Bear subscription is you can watch all the videos, but there's no reason to ever unsubscribe. It's never like, I'm crushing this month, so I'm going to get premium. And then the next month you don't. It's like, I want consistency long term. That way we can budget for shit and stuff. But if you can't afford it, do whatever you can, Or P.O. Box 727, Gig Harbor, Washington, 98335. I ran across Mountain Bear's hilarious vid. NASA are hilarious and could not stop laughing. You have started something great, BB. A creative movement. Gonna put some of my own creativity to use now. Love it. Ranger Lem. P.S. You'll notice this letter is handwritten, no cursive either. I gotta apologize to you, BB. I nearly turned you off when you said we didn't go to the moon. Holy hell, they grappled me good. Thank you for the ungrabbling. Anytime. Yeah, and there's people that turn me off and then they come back because once you see it, I sound insane at first sometimes, and then you'll just, NASA says we have to move the entire Earth to avoid an asteroid. You're like, oh God, that crazy guy on the internet was actually right. And then I'm like, we're not going anywhere. We're still ladling. Welcome back. The prodigal son is returned. PPS, thank you, JareBear451, for uploading BB to the series of tubes so I can use their bandwidth instead of the tube I pay for. That's not for me. It's for the channel. Support it. Love it. Yeah, and after this month, we'll have zero problems with bandwidth or any of that stuff. It's just, it's a long journey, but it's a fun one. Thank you for being patient. All right, two more. Inside you are two wolves. One is gay. The other is actually a bear. Feed the bear. Moccasin Bear. P.S. Thanks for the Christmas card. Anytime. Thank you. Owen, first and foremost, congrats on number 3. We're praying for the little one along with Amy. Also, thanks for the Christmas card. I know you put effort and time getting those out, and it did genuinely mean something to me. From hearing from others, it meant something to many of us. I know this is most certainly off topic, but when I was thinking the other day, I came across a profound idea. It could just be my OCD. We celebrate Jesus' birthday, and we should be celebrating his life day. Yeah, I've ladled that gravy a little bit myself. I'm not proposing we change the date. I know, I've thought about that as well. It might help some break the spell which they try to cast regarding modern Christmas. Since being saved 5 years ago, I struggled with Christmas because it became about materialism. Yeah, just make it not about that in your house. Problem solved. You don't have to change Starbucks. You never will. They worship a weird goddess energy. And I'm not saying that the feminine isn't necessary for this world. It's just, that's what they do. Change it in your home. Change it in your own mind. You're fine. But I understand it's about celebrating our Savior coming to save us all. It's about family and making sure our children understand that God loves us so much he allowed his son to suffer for our sins. You made me think about Mary's role and how tough she had it. God bless Cape Cod Bear. Also, it's great having you unauthorized.tv on Roku. Love it. All right, let's read a little bit of Dr. E. Michael Jones's Culture War magazine, and then we'll call it a day. You guys enjoying this? Cod, will you release the lemons? BB, my wife read about a man who ate a worming tablet and cured himself of cancer. Yeah, man, there's a lot going on in the biome. I'm not going to ladle that too much because there is an element of narcissism in me constantly thinking about what I'm eating and what is going on in my own gut. But I'm glad I brought that information to light so other people can just figure it out. But endlessly thinking about my own diet and thinking everyone else is really interested in it, I'm just going to not do that. My wife just got pregnant. Boom. But I thought that people can't get pregnant now because of chemtrails. I'm just going to keep watching the pornos. And I'm not saying chemtrails aren't real and weird. Obviously they are. But just keep pumping for life. Pump for life. Dog dewormers supposedly kill cancer. Well, my turpentine's coming in the mail. I just got some castor oil and some other I'm not going to endlessly talk about it. Thank you, BB. Have a great day. I'm not done yet. I'm reading Michael Jones. He said, Owen Benjamin arrived in Hobart, Indiana. So, by the way, subscribe to E. Michael Jones. He's banned in a lot of places. Legendary Catholic. If Catholicism would take a page out of old E. Michael Jones's book, you guys would actually have something to be proud of in the old Vatican. But he's awesome. And he has a new book out, Logos Rising. I'm going to have him on soon. I'm going to read the book and then have him on. But check out Culture Wars magazine. After he got kicked out of being a professor at a Catholic university for what? For being against abortion. And he wouldn't back down. He's got the masculine in him. He didn't cuck. The cucking is the real problem. I'll just read a little of this. Owen Benjamin arrived in Hobart, Indiana on October 4, one day after the premiere of Joker. There was, as William Blake might have said, a fearful symmetry linking those two events. The name of the link was stand-up comedy. The difference between Owen Benjamin's routine and Joker were as striking as the similarities. Joker attempted to drive the Zoomers into the abyss of revolutionary violence. Owen Benjamin attempted to pull them back to the real world of Logos, a world in which order prevailed over the chaos that had ruled the lives of those in attendance, many of whom were wearing Logos Rising t-shirts. Aside from student loan debt, the main problem facing incels is pornography. Zoomer incels are the young men in their 20s. As such, the main challenge they face is finding a mate and starting a family. The main roadblock that the culture has created to inhibit a successful transition from being single to being married is pornography, which leads naturally to the state of isolation that the oligarchs see as the ideal form of control. Joker adverts to the Zoomer pornography problem in a unique way by giving fleeting glances of the porn in the notebook he shows to his social worker. By dealing with the porn issue in the subliminal way that film does so well, Phillips gets the Zoomers on his side without allowing them to address the problem. In this, he differs from Owen Benjamin, who addresses the porn issue directly in a stand-up routine. When his viewers tell him that the world is coming to an end, he asks them if they are watching pornography, and they invariably admit they are. Pornography, in other words, is one of the chief engines driving the generation into a sense of despair, and despair is one of the chief engines driving them to violence. My conversation with Athena showed that's from earlier in the magazine, showed that women are no exception to this rule. Sexualized as a child when she inadvertently stumbled across pornography, she entered a life of sexual addiction at puberty, which was completely compatible with the ideology of feminism, which she learned at school. Feminism pushed her in the direction of engineering, which she pursued at MIT. During her first year there, she met an older student who explained to her that the only worldview compatible with science was atheism. And so, in addition to sleeping with her mentor, she checked her religious beliefs at the door and stopped believing in God. She eventually married her mentor, but the relationship was so lifeless and cold that it eventually led to divorce. Divorce led to malaise in general and a feeling of disgust at science. Divorced from any rational or metaphysical foundation, led her to give up engineering and move to California, where she made a living by growing marijuana. Eventually, she stumbled onto Owen Benjamin's YouTube videos, which led her to read my book, Libido Dominati, Sexual Liberation and Political Control, which led her to drive from Washington, D.C. to Hobart to attend his concert. Owen Benjamin was born in 1980 to two professors at Oswego State University, 1 year after the Great Comedy Strike of 1979 put an end to the era of revolutionary comedy, which began with the career of Lenny Bruce at some point in the 50s. By the time Benjamin arrived on the scene in 2008, when he landed a supporting role in The House Bunny, comedy had gone from a sacred cause to a big business on its way to becoming a racket. The New York Comedy Strike of '79 paved the way for the boom of the 80s by shutting down comedy in New York and spreading it across the rest of the country, which there are now over 300 comedy clubs nationwide hosting over 1,500 full-time comedians. By the way, only 1,500. Think about that. Think about how difficult it is to become a comedian as it is. And then if you're not a leftist, it's wild. I'm very blessed and thankful. All right, anyway. So then I'm not going to read all the quotes. Read this because I'm just going to read his words. In the 21-year period, which stretched from 95 to 2016, a period which was one of the low points in the recent history of comedy, comedy was responsible for the highest box office revenue of all film genres in North America, bringing in $41.49 billion in revenue. In an article which recently appeared in Vulture, Jesse David Fox claimed that there has never been a better time to be a comedian. After 2009, the year many readily associate with the beginning of stand-up's revival, comedians could repeatedly do stand-up comedy at sold-out venues like Madison Square Garden, whereas before that large venue were rare. Beyond that, and then another quote, Owen Benjamin arrived at the scene at the beginning of the second comedy boom, giving Benjamin's ability to tell a joke combined with his talent at playing the piano and writing satirical songs, success seemed inevitable. And for a while, he was successful in the industry's terms. In 2009, he landed the leading role of a romantic comedy, All's Fair in Love, with Christina Ricci as his co-star. 2010, he landed a spot on Comedy Central Presents. For 3 seasons, from 2012 to 14, Benjamin portrayed Owen Walsh on the TBS original comedy Sullivan and Son. As some indication of the role that he was to play in the comedy world of 21st century, Benjamin played the health inspector who measured the urine level in swimming pools in the 2015 sex farce Staten Island Summer. At this point, Benjamin stepped out of character and began to use stand-up comedy as a vehicle for criticizing the absurdities of gender ideology, claiming that the transgender rights movement was part of a eugenics program funded by Bill Gates. In October 2017, Benjamin's stand-up act got canceled at the University of Connecticut after he criticized NPR host Jesse Thorne of child abuse for supporting a 3-year-old child in diapers choosing gender, which will lead to hormone blockers. Benjamin was also accused of using many anti-LGBT slurs in his comedy routine. In an official statement, UConn said that Benjamin's comedy show was canceled because his comments were increasingly negative in sentiment. The university went on to say that it respects Mr. Benjamin's free speech rights, along with our student group's right to determine who it wishes to host on campus. In an attempt to help to head off legal action, it announced that the contract's cancellation clause is being honored and he will receive his appearance fee. Took months, by the way. And I did post, I posted that they did that eventually, but months. And I had like lawyers ready to go pro boner. All right, Benjamin responded by saying that the student group, and they don't include that all my other college dates were canceled. They didn't pay me. And that's after I had bought a rental property and I was now acquiring credit card debt because I assumed that my ability to make money wasn't about to be just completely ended, but whatever. Benjamin responded by saying that the student group had exercised its free speech rights when it contacted him because they liked his comedy, implying that they backed down under pressure and were also pissed that this happened. Yeah, they were. The group was mad. They wanted me to come. This was all bullshit. He concluded by ascribing the cancellation to the PC political environment that makes these people silent. After losing his agents and becoming barred from Hollywood projects, Benjamin restarted his career on the internet, quickly garnering over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. That venue came to an end as part of the censorship campaign which the ADL conducted over the summer of 2019. Unlike the University of Connecticut, which paid his fee after canceling his performance, YouTube pocketed over $50,000 from his escrow account after canceling his super chats. At this point, Owen Benjamin and the comics of his generation were in a bind. In order to be funny, they had to have the freedom to ridicule sacred cows. But over the course of 3 generations, the nature of those sacred cows had changed from the middle-class mores of the 50s, which Jews like Lenny Bruce loved to ridicule, to the politically correct beliefs of the 21st century, with the ruthless Jewish commissars at organizations like the ADL imposed on everyone else as part of their campaign against hate speech, which is another word for speech Jews don't like. The obvious had become too big to ignore. Political correctness had killed comedy. Even a nebbish like Jerry Seinfeld was complaining that it was impossible to do comedy on campuses. There's a certain amount of irony here that needs to be explored. The same group of people which applauded Lenny Bruce as a courageous revolutionary was now in the business of punishing anyone who deviated from the most fundamentalist interpretation of the Talmud of political correctness. How is this possible? The downturn in Owen Benjamin's career is only understandable in light of the forces which Lenny Bruce's revolution unleashed. Nervous laughter. The Catskills swarmed with Jewish stand-up comics who were famous for... All right, so that was a little excerpt. So God bless you, Michael Jones. Thank you for telling my story, buddy. I appreciate that a lot. this is actual journalism. This is actual reporting. That's my story, and it's incredibly interesting. And he goes on and on to discuss the history of comedy, how this all happened. He told my story better than I would have. So it's like, subscribe to Culture War Magazine. He does these all the time. And so that was a little taste. So there's people out there writing. There's people out there doing their thing. There's people out there that refuse to kneel. And there's not a lot people can do to people who accept financial loss and public shaming. Oh, BB, do you remember when Obama canceled you in New York City show in 2001 or 2011? Yep. Owen, we're so blessed to have you. I remember when I lost my mind, then I found your stream, forever grateful. Oh, thank you. Don't forget Operation Paperclip. Right, but the way E. Michael Jones breaks this down is so accurate. It's like the whole point of the comedian is making fun of the sacred cow. So when the sacred cow used to be various institutions and they applauded it, it was only because they were pushing towards degeneracy. Now the sacred cow is degeneracy. So someone like me is actually accurately doing my job as a comedian, which is what makes people laugh. And if you don't allow people to do that, but see, that's the thing is you can't stop people. They only sabotage themselves. Like when people are trying to shut down Lenny Bruce, don't get me wrong. Lenny Bruce was pushing degeneracy, but he was still being a comedian. So he would be kicked out. He would be arrested. He would have to do the version of airport hangers like I do. And now he's a legend. So use that as inspiration that when we're doing this, when we're not allowing the profession to die and we're doing airport hangers and D-Live and unauthorized and all that, accept it and love it. You know, there's like, there's a beauty in it. There's a beauty in being the underdog. There's a beauty in attacking the sacred cows and not taking no for an answer because the Sarah Silvermans, all these people, they're not in a good position. They're making it so comedy no longer works. EMJ crushing. And he got into the intricacies of it, like how the university responded and then what really happened, how the student group was not happy that I was canceled, how they eventually did pay me my fee so they weren't in breach of contract, but my whole income was shut down. And so I've been very grateful, and because they wanted me to beg. They wanted me to say, please, just like that dude from Full House, or Saved by the Bell, the dude with the Soul Glow hair, who told Candace Owens that, you know, trans kids is child abuse, and then he apologized. And everyone's like, why would he apologize? Until you've been there, you don't know. Until you've been in a position where you are getting, like you're making money in one of the most competitive businesses in the world. 1,500 total comedians. Think about how many try. And I was in the top of those. I was in the top 50 or 100. And that may sound odd because I wasn't like doing Madison Square Garden or anything, but there's only 5, 8, 10 total that can do that. So I was in the 1,000th I was in the top 10th of a 1% for that. And so when they take it all away, they expect you to beg. They expect you to tell everybody you're sorry because that has an even bigger effect. It's saying, look at your people now. It's like now show that anybody can be bought. And the fact I didn't was is why you guys are here, I think. A lot of the reasons, and I'm just funny. But like, understand, have a little compassion for these stars because when it hits you, when you are persona non grata, when you are kicked out of the circles and you realize there's nowhere to go and you have a baby and you have credit card debt and they say there are 4 lights, say there are 4 lights and you only see 3 lights and they're like, say 4 lights. And people are just like, oh, all these celebrities are all satanic. No, most of them are just, there's no way, they don't put truth above that pain. And they just want the pain to stop. And the irony is when you call out like, oh, trans kids is beautiful, they know they own you even more and they'll treat you like a nigger. Because it's how they see you. Never apologize for the truth, never. My friend moved to LA to try and be a comedian. Problem was he wasn't funny. Yeah, and comedian's one of those jobs where you can't like casting couch your way up because you have to perform. You have to be, it's like being an athlete. You know, as actors, you can just make any asshole a famous actor with editing and shit. CGI, just take after take after take. Comedian and athlete, you can't fake it. Like if you're an hour in front of a crowd with just a microphone and you can't make people laugh, sorry, Joe Rogan, but it turns out you're just a gay midget. All right, guys, subscribe to Captain Picard's scene was epic. Yeah, but that was originally out of 1984. Not simply satanic, just blind to the truth. Right, it's just weak. It's weak. And we can all relate to that. That's why it's not like they're pushing the upside down. They just, I know I'm friends with a lot of law enforcement people. And there's people that they've arrested that like steal cars and stuff. And they've turned their lives around. And a lot of it is they're never exposed to another way. And just any cop, like a good cop that just takes a minute and they're just like, stop, like find something else. And they're like, yeah, but I missed work because I had to go to parole and then they fired me. And then, Dion asked me to help out. And he's like, dude. And then you give them another path. And then like a year later, they're like, thank you, man. I didn't see any other way. That's why they like to silence people like me, because there is other ways that isn't like the Joker or any of this nihilistic bullshit. Our own CIA admits to a disinformation program. If anyone pays attention, they brag about it. Obama signed a bill in 2012 that makes it legal to propagandize its own civilians. Forget Operation Paperclip. Now it's like the news is not at all true. So don't watch it and don't internalize it. It's up to you. Don't blame it on other people. There's no end to that. If you want, there's no end to it. All right, guys. So unauthorized.tv, P.O. Box 727, Gig Harbor, Washington, 98335, Unbearables merchandise, and subscribe to all the various YouTube channels that upload clips and the full streams. Well, they could take you down. So what? What does that affect you? You're like, oh, subscribe and the channel's gone. Just keep searching, looking, be active. Enjoy it. It's fun. Make clips of like the Kobe section. Make clips of the E. Michael Jones section. Like make clips so people can search various topics and stumble upon this. It's because when people stumble upon it, listen to those letters. They stop watching pornos. They start getting healthy. All right, I got to go, guys. Much love. Logos is on the Logos already rose. The people just keep waiting. They're like, it's almost here. We can choose that right now. The New World Order already succeeded. Oh, they're going to put a chip in our... Okay, now what? It's already done. And don't wait for someone to return to save you. Live now. All right. And then when Jesus returns, it's just pure gravy. Just tons of ladling. The world will just be ladled in gravy. All right. Much love. Be fruitful and multiply. Don't be fruity and blow, guy. At Owen Benjamin on Gab. At Owen Comedy at Instagram. Our Twitter has been probably permanently suspended, but who knows? Might not be. All right. Bye, guys.